All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are getting ready to get started. Ruston Daily Leader, presented by Origin Bank, 2023 Lincoln Parish Police Jury Community Meet and Greet for Districts 9, 10, and 11. Nancy Bergeron will be conducting this evening's forum, and we'll follow along. Hopefully we can get really good audio from the candidates. So for those at home, playing at home, 9, 10, and 11. 9, 10, and 11 last Thursday night, which, by the way, you can watch. It's up on the Ruston Leaders YouTube page. Had Districts 1. Well, some of them weren't represented, that's right. And I did not get to attend. So there's Nancy. Let's see. Let's take a look at the crowd. Best I could tell. Crowd shot. Dais shot. There's Dan Lord. Whoa, sneaking some airtime, wearing the t-shirt. Well, it's supposed to start at 6. We are at 5:59. Close to go time.
We believe that hearing from the candidates firsthand is one of the best ways for voters to have information as you make your choices on election day. There are a couple of ground rules here. First, this is not a debate. That might be fun, but this is not it. This is a question and answer forum covering topics of impact to the parish. So we ask that you, the audience, you withhold your applause or any kind of reaction to any of comments that the candidates make. Each candidate will be given 90 seconds to answer each question. At the end of 1 minute, our timekeepers down here in the middle will hold up a yellow paddle down here facing that other table, signaling that you have 30 seconds left. When you see the yellow paddle, you got 30 seconds left. At the end of the time, she'll hold up a red paddle, and that means stop. You finish the sentence you're on, but don't start a new paragraph, don't start a new page, just stop. After that, we will rotate the order of districts and candidates within each district so that the same candidate won't always be first, in the middle, or last. Now to tonight's candidates. From District 9, Nikisha Evans. Nikisha is a Democrat and an active member of New Hope Missionary Baptist Church. an NAACP member volunteer for the Ruston Voters League, and a community advocate for children. In District 9 also, Joe Henderson is the incumbent there. He's a former police jury president and vice president. He claims no political party. He's also pastor of Mount Calvary Baptist Church in Arcadia. District 10 candidates, Gary Wayne Baldwin. Mr. Baldwin is a Democrat. He's a deacon at the Morning Star Baptist Church, a member of the New Land Male Chorus, and a volunteer with the Food Bank of Northwest Louisiana. Milton Melton is the District 10 incumbent. He's also a Democrat. He's the current jury vice president, and he's also a commissioner for the Sparta Groundwater Conservation District. Morris Mola Winters is the third candidate in District 10. He claims no political party affiliation. He is a two-time graduate of Grambling State University, both degrees, bachelor and master's in communication. He's involved with the Ruston Housing Authority, has helped develop programs and tutoring for area youth, and he's also volunteered for numerous activities ranging from the Eddie Robinson football camp, the Wilbur Ellis baseball camp, and Stop the Violence rallies. In District 11, candidates are Patsy Campbell. Patsy is a retired cashier and booth clerk at Harvest Foods, that's now Super One, and worked 18 years for the Humanitarian Enterprise of Lincoln Parish in capacities including administrative assistant, transportation coordinator, and equal opportunity officer. She's a Democrat. Sharon Mayfield is the District 11 incumbent. She too is a Democrat. She served on various jury committees and is also a member of the Lincoln Parish Detention Center Commission. Also from District 11 is Diane Hurd Richards. She's retired from Harvest Foods as well and from H&R Block. She owns and operates a professional tax business and worked as a bus driver for the parish for 8 years, and she is also a Democrat. And now to what you came to hear. We have a number of questions that you, the audience, have turned in tonight. I wish we could get to every one of them. We could if you wanted to stay till midnight or so, and they are fantastic questions. So we'll do as many as we can. I would urge you at the end of our time together, feel free to talk to any of these ladies and gentlemen about things that maybe we didn't get to or things that you think of during the forum tonight. All right, here is our first question, and we will start with District 9 and Ms. Evans first. Here's the question. How much should the police jury intervene in situations at the Lincoln Parish Detention Center involving such things as inmate treatment, sickness, work release, cleanliness, and deaths that have occurred at the DC?
I think we should be 100% involved.
I think we should be 100% involved. One thing about the community, the police jury is the gap between the community and the things that are going on and affecting our community. So if we get in there and find out what's going on, gain the balance of the situation instead of keeping allowing it to go on and on and on and it's not being taken care of, then that's unfair to our community. We are the face for the community, so I think we should be 100% involved in that.
And Mr. Henderson.
Thank you, and thank the Ruston State leader for allowing us to come and see our constituent. But the Lincoln Parish Police Jury own the building only. The police jury only own the building. The Lincoln Parish Detention Center is ran by a commission of 5 people. And those 5 are the ones that run the detention center and not the police jury. And those 5 make the decisions concerning the detention center on federal and state law. But the police jury only own the building and contribute $85,000 a year to its operation. And that's the only effect the police jury have.
Now we'll move to
Thanks once again for inviting me to this. I've heard two different things that were said about it. We might not be able to do anything for that, but we can still stand up because the people in there is just like the people are sitting out here. We're supposed to be there for everybody. Hear everybody's complaint, even though people might do things wrong, but we're supposed to forgive and forget. But to do the right thing is to step in sometime and ask questions. Might own the building, but you still have a heart.
Mr. Melton.
Good evening. Good evening to everyone. We have people that's part of the commission for the Lincoln Parish Detention Center, but we are not responsible for running the center itself. That is the responsibility of the sheriff's office. We are only responsible for brick and mortar.
Mr. Winters.
Again, good evening. This question is concerning the death and the treatment of inmates. And regardless if you or we, if the police jury owns the building or not, we still have some type of responsibility to monitor the situations that go on within the building, the same way you will monitor the situations that go on within your home. We can't do anything, everything about that, but it can be more communication with the 5 members that do run that commission to monitor activities to reduce death and improve the treatments and possibly increase meals and some sort of rehabilitation and better work options, because again, a lot of those people want to be employed out there. They want to regain access back into the community. So with that being said, some of those inmates would not even like to be in that situation, would rather be out here working, earning some type of income toward their rehabilitation, and when they get out, possibly have more money on their books and able to do something for themselves to better themselves in the community.
Ms. Cameron, District 11.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks to the leader for allowing us this forum. In reference to that question, I would direct it to the board of the detention center. They operate under a board, and we as jurors or prospective jurors need to know what the rules and regulations are and what we can and cannot do before we step on that board, because they do operate under a board, and they have policies and procedures to go by. So I would refer that person to the board, and if they can't get good results there, then they would follow the next step. I'm sure there's 2 or 3 different steps that you would follow to voice your grievance or complaint.
Good evening, everyone. We as police jurors, we do not direct the people at the sheriff's office. We just handle the bricks and mortar. I am on the detention center commission, so if it's anything that anyone needs to know about what's going on, I can ask the questions when we go to the meeting, or we could set up a meeting with the sheriff and just ask the questions. But we can't do anything about what they do at the detention center.
Ms. Richards.
Good evening. My thing about the detention center, I realize The police jury owns the building. It's a 5 people on this board. I have researched this since July. And when somebody is sick, and with Miss Mayfield being on that board, a representative for the police jury, she should see to that person getting out. Nobody should have to lose their lives out there because they need medical help. The place, it looks clean on the outside, but I have pictures on the back. We need to care about those people just like we care about our families. And they committed a crime, but still, that's not who they are. We should love them, whether they our family or somebody else's family. I would do what is right, because it is right, and God is going to make it right. So we all need to get together and take care of that situation at the detention center, because it's about 3 or 4 people have died out there. So we need to do something. We need to wake up. This is the wake-up call. It's time for a change. If we don't stand up for what is right, you will fall for anything. So we need to stand up, everybody.
Question 2, and we will start this time with District 10. And here is the question. The jury's new contract with the Ruston Fire Department for ambulance and rescue service will expire in 2027, which is during this term to come. How should the jury approach this when it comes time to renew? Start with District 10, Mr. Winters.
Oh, no. Thank you. The question was posed was, how do we handle the situation with renewing the contract for the fire and EMS for the parish? That question was one of the most, well, this issue rather was one of the most hot topics that brought members out to start and understand what's actually going on in their community. Now, to understand the full aspect of the fire and EMS services, you have to understand that residents don't deserve to have a fire on water tank, and the services have to come from Vienna. So that's in itself an issue, because those rural areas are the ones being affected by that. And those are the ones who need those services the most, because they don't have $1 million brick home, they still have a home that they consider theirs, and they need to be protected.
Mr. Baldwin.
Well, I was there on January when the meeting went. I spoke there. Actually, the fire marshal in Vienna said that he has to come. They have to come out of there, and it take them anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes to get there, and a place would be burned. We've had this discussion back and forth, and I don't think that it should be like this, but it is. So what I would do was I would try to bring everybody back to the board, discuss the situation at hand, try to make things better than what they are now. If the committee would have elected to take the first amount, now they wouldn't have to worry about dealing with the second amount that they got going. And believe me, PAPIT is a good ambulance service, but I just don't want them down there. They're not there to help nobody.
Mr. Melton.
this was a very, very heated topic, but that's in the past. We're not going to dwell on the past. We're going to look forward. I think we should work if it, we'll have the option, as we had the option this time, to go in a different direction. But I think if it by chance is Ruston, we need to work with Ruston to reach a suitable payment for services rendered. And from what I've understand, Ruston and the Parish Fire Department have a mutual aid agreement. But if that be the case, if the closest fire station to the fire, if it's on Water Tank Road, it should be Ruston responding, if that is the agreement.
Ms. Evans. I'm sorry, we're going down to District 9, excuse me. Yeah, Ms. Evans.
I've heard everyone's concern, but the question that was asked was, how do we handle the renewal of the ambulance contract for 2027? I propose that as a team, no matter who's elected, we sit down and we reconstruct what's going on with the present contract that we have. We already know what the money was spent, we know what the problems are, but the question was renewal. That means new. We all sit down, reevaluate, research the community, research on the websites, different areas, revamp our budget to help our people, to make it better for our people, to make it an effective service for our community. We shouldn't keep talking about how much was spent, how much was lost, what had. We're moving forward. The renewal is 2027. Let's move forward with a new plan of action, and let's take action together.
And Mr. Henderson.
With that agreement coming to the end at 2027, regardless of who get elected on January 1, our first meeting in January, we need to start discussing how we're going to, number one, finance it. We got to decide how we're going to finance it. Work with the city management, the mayor, work out an agreement that will be equal for everyone. And we have to always remember this now. The ambulance service that we're dealing with is for citizens outside the city of Ruston. Inside Ruston, and Ruston Fire Department is one of the best fire department EMSs in the state. We have a good fire department, but we got to renegotiate that contract. But we can't wait till January. We can't wait till 2027. We need to start working on it right now in order to find the proper funding with whatever contract come up at the time.
Okay, we'll move now to District 11 and Ms. Mayfield.
About renewing the contract, I think that whoever is elected in January, we need to start looking at the financing. My main reason for voting for it, not doing it, was because of the money. I didn't think that we needed to come up with that kind of money. So we need to go back and relook at the financing and how we are going to be able to finance that money. Ruston does have a very good fire department and rescue center, but I just think that it was too much money that we had to pay.
And Ms. Richards.
Okay. Well, the money was there. The city of Ruston, for about 30 years, had charged the parish $30,000. Okay, when they renewed it, it was $120,000 a year. Okay, after that year was up, the city of Ruston sent a proposal for $120,000 plus a 5% raise. Okay, I don't know why it didn't get to all the jurors, but they voted it down. It was two, I'm not gonna call them, it was two, turned it down. Okay, so the next time the city of Ruston took it off the table. They came up with $645,000 and $640. Okay, so they decided to take that. So Look at our taxpayers' money, $530,000 over what we could have spent that money on something else. So we need to be aware of the paper. The paperwork should have come to all the jurors, all 12 jurors, and they should have known about the 120 plus the 5% raise. So that $530,000, that hurt everybody. We all pay taxes. That shouldn't have went it shouldn't have went that way. The city of Ruston is good. They are the best. And we need to stick with the city of Ruston. And with this money, we need to know what's going on. Everybody needs to know what's going on. Not just two, but everybody.
Okay. I agree relatively with most of the statements, but the key, in my opinion, is communication and working together. Now, what's done is done. It's done now. I think starting January 1st, whoever's on the jury should go ahead and start working on that then, as soon as possible. And think about who you're doing it for. It's for the constituents. It's not about who you like or who's on this department or whatever. We need, everybody deserves to have good health care. And so that's what we need to put in the forefront of everything, and go ahead and find the money, find a way to do it, do our research, and come up with the way. And in 2027, we ought to be ready. This should not catch us by surprise again. That's all.
All right, the next question is about the old county market building. And here it is. Should the police jury be in the rental business, like with the old county market building? And what's your opinion of the building? What do you think the jury should do with the old county market building? We'll start this round with District 11 and Ms. Richards.
Well, in my research, they was talking about a new courthouse. I think that would be good. And they shouldn't be in the rental business, but right now it's making money, but it's a very old building. And as years pass, things are going to start breaking down, and they're going to have to start putting money into those buildings. So the courthouse would be a good idea. And if they don't want to do the courthouse, that parking lot, it serves a purpose. When they have court now, they don't even have room to park. So they up on the courthouse, and anywhere else up in that parking lot, and anywhere else they can park. But the courthouse will serve a good purpose. And it's about 4 or 5 business. But yeah, you look at the money, it's good money coming in, but just think that building being so old, if something break down, it's gonna really cost taxpayers some money. It's not what we want, it's what the constituents want. So we need to always go back to our district and talk to them to see what they want. If that's what they want, then we go forward with that. Because there's a lot of time we take stuff in our own hands and do what we want instead of getting them involved. Because like a lot of them out there say, if I'm elected, they want to have meetings, and that's good. Keep the residents involved with what's going on.
Ms. Cantler.
Okay, concerning that county market building, it is of my opinion that if you're renting a building or a space and you're not making income, you're only breaking even, if I'm correct in what I'm thinking, then you're not making anything, because you're going to have expenditures. The air conditioner could go down, and that building is not in good shape. So I would think that it should be torn down. I don't think we should be sinking any more money into that building. So I think that it should be torn down, and the space could be used for other things, maybe a parking lot, as Sister Richards said, but not to keep renting it out and not making anything on it.
And Ms. Mayfield.
When we purchased the county market building, we looked at it to be a new courthouse. But after we going through the plans, it was going to be very expensive, and we didn't want to put any taxes on our constituents. So I think that what we need to do, once we get the renters out, the ones that are renting, we will probably think about trying to maybe put some of our courthouses over there. That would be a really good thing for us to do, to move our court system over there and just build for all of our courts, and we could be over there and they'll have enough parking places.
We'll move now to District 9 and Mr. Henderson.
The county market building was purchased with the intent of building a new courthouse, but it wasn't financially feasible at the time. And like Ms. Maysfield said, we didn't want to put any more taxes on the citizens of Lincoln Parish. We started renting out the building. But our next step now is to wean ourselves of those renters. Let them know now that when their lease is up the next time, we will not renew it. So we'll be able to tear that building down and have parking place for a new courthouse system, for the people to be safe going in and out, the judge going in and out. But also, let us remember, those places up there that sell to our public, they serve a purpose. The Dollar General building serve a purpose to the people on this side of town right now. But once the leases are over with, we shouldn't renew it, tear the building down, and build a better place for our courthouse system. But to answer your question, the jury shouldn't be in the rental business.
I believe the question that was asked is about the old county market building. Should we be in the rental business or not, and what would we like for it to be? Me as a person, rental is good, but as a police juror, economic development is even better. I would propose that we would turn it into a training center to help reform inmates, to help develop skills for them to get back in society and become a part of this community in Ruston, Louisiana. I would propose that in that center, in another building, that we do another economic development for writing, because children are not learning how to write in cursive anymore, and the lingo has not changed. We still write in cursive. I would propose that we take that building, if we're going to tear it down, and recreate an economic development that will serve the entire community. We have enough courthouses. All we have to do is balance the amount of people that we bring into the ones that we have. But let's create some new things with that moving forward grant that you're speaking of. Let's do economic development for our community.
We'll move now to District 10 and Mr. Melton.
As of now, this location is bringing in revenue for the parish. We've had discussions concerning this, about what to do with the old county market location once we decide to move from there. And we haven't reached a final agreement yet, but we have suggested creating a building to house all our judiciary people. They would be placed in this location.
And Mr. Winters.
The question posed was, should we or should we not be in the rental business? The question is really as simple as itself. We're already in the rental business. First thing they said when the first question was posed about the detention center, owning the brick and mortar building. So we're already in the rental business, and that area up there where the county market building is at does bring in tax revenue. It's a lot of small businesses up there, and it's a lot of businesses up there that provide government services such as the DMV. With tearing that building down, we would lose vital services such as that. So again, repairs may need to be done, but we need to look at that in the long-term future, but still bring in more, because it's empty spaces up there, bring in more businesses that provide more services to our community. So, thank you.
And Mr. Baldwin.
The answer to that question is yes, because as the police jury has stated, they own the detention center, they own the Old County Market building, they own the buildings where the dollar store at, the Windsor Place, the DMV. All of this is bringing in money. What is needed to help along with something else, not just putting it in the bank, meaning your back pocket. We need to do things with the revenue that is being brought in, different things, helping others, as it has been stated up here on the council. Okay, courthouses. That's going to be a big old courthouse, if you understand what I'm saying. People will fill it up. Yeah, might be a good idea to have a bigger courtroom. It ain't gonna help me, no, but it'll help the people. So we need to do the right thing when being landlords.
All right, next question. The jury may hire a new parish administrator next term. The last administrator search was confusing and unclear, as the jury picked one person and then another. How will you make sure the next hiring process is fair? And we'll start this round with District 9 and Mr. Henderson.
In light of the last hire, there's been discussion amongst the current jury, not publicly, but how we can fine-tune our hiring process, the review process, and making the final decision on a person to be administrator. And what we have to do is have in writing, like was suggested by another juror, have things in writing in order when time to review that person once he's hired. But have something written, go on their qualifications, and get the best person there for the job as the administrator, and let us be on one. One thing I would like to say is, whenever you're in a democracy, the majority always rule, and we should never leave a meeting saying I didn't vote for something, because that cause confusion and division in the community. We should always say, well, the jury, us, we did this. And once we go forward as we, we'll have more cohesiveness in the jury.
And Ms. Evans.
The question was, how can we make the next hiring fair? I would say even better. I think that communication is the key. Organization is the key. Knowing what you're looking for and really looking at the qualifications of that person and being honest about your decision. I think we should get a process that everyone agrees upon ahead of time, communicate exactly what we want, how we want it, vote for it, and as Mr. Henderson said, we made a decision. We don't discuss who said what, who didn't vote, who did vote, who said yes, who said no. Go forward with proper communication with respect to one another's decision, but accept whatever change that's being made as a whole.
Move now to District 10 and Mr. Baldwin.
Well, I do believe that the way things has been going on in the past, I was at a committee meeting when they did that. to me, it sounded like there was a lot of ifs, ands, and buts going on. There was some that was qualified, more qualified than the other, and I was wondering why the one that was most qualified for the job wasn't picked. But that's not for me to say. But like both Brother Henderson and Sister Evans stated, it has to be a joint vote. Come together as one. Be about what the people want. Talk about it. Ask the questions, and make sure that we are picking the right one, because we don't need somebody up there that'll just throw his his hat in the ring for nothing.
And Mr. Melton.
Well, my feelings are, because I've been a part of this before, working for a telecommunications company, I feel like we lack a little bit as far as our selection process. When I say that, I feel like that we need to get with HR, the person that's head of the Personnel and Benefit Committee, create a document centered around what the parish administrator's duties are, and set goals, set objectives, set expectations, and completion, and have a mid-year review with him to discuss his progress, and to let him advise him he needs to do better in different areas. Do it by a scoring process. At the end of the year, sit down and have a final review with him. And then if he does not reach the goals that's been set before him, then that way the full jury can decide whether we need to renew the contract or not.
Mr. Williams.
Well, first of all, over the history of the Lincoln Parish Police Jury, there's only been 5 administrators. And Mr. Durrett, and he served for 30 years. The administrator served him before that was 30 years. So this is new. So the thing with the last administrator was performance. So the real topic is, how do we evaluate them on their performances, and how should that be handled? So in my opinion, it's a yearly contract with that administrator. So I believe that these administrators should have some type of performance evaluations, not every quarter, but at least twice a year. So, and if you do that twice a year, say for example in March, you give that person 6 months. 6 months to know and correct their ways of doing their job, or what is expected from the jury. So within that time, you have the police jury president, along with the vice president, and a board that convene and review those evaluations to see in October if that contract or for that administrator should be renewed. And that way, everybody is on the same page, and everybody won't be called blindsided when the contract is renewed or not renewed.
And Ms. Campbell from District 11.
I think that we should, they should, as a jury, decide on the qualifications first. What are you looking for? And make it plain and very clear. And decide on the qualification before you pick the person. Don't pick a person and then make the qualifications to fit the person that you want for that job, because I've seen that done before. Not necessarily in this jury, but go ahead and make the qualifications of what you want, and then have a vetting process and let the process be equal for everyone. Everyone should have to follow the same qualifications, meet up to the same level of experience or whatever that you're looking for. And at that time, once you narrow the search down, then get together as a team, and you might agree to disagree, but allow the majority to rule, because everybody's not going to agree on the same thing. Set personal agendas aside and go ahead and work on what's best for the jury. And we need a good leader. It's going to have to be somebody that's able to lead this divided jury in an impartial way, and have open minds and make documentation as to if once you decide on who the person is, then, and if like they say, go ahead and evaluate them, maybe on a quarterly basis, however you want to evaluate them, and keep good documentation of their performance.
Ms. Mayfield.
Well, I think that we did the appoint system when we did our administrator. And I think that was really a good thing. But I think what we should have done, and if we doing it on 2 separate days, we take the person the first day that had the most points, and then the person the second day that had the most points, and go back and bring them back up to re-evaluate those 2 different people. And that's how you would pick the person. And then we would have to do policies and the main qualifications that we do need for that we feel like we need to do for our administrator. If he doesn't fit those qualifications, I think that we need to just let him go. 6 months is really a good time. You can bring him in and talk to him and ask him what, you haven't done this or you haven't done it, and give him a chance. You give him another 3 months and see if he's trying to bring himself back up to the core. That's what I think.
And Ms. Richards.
Okay, it should be some type of qualification in place when you hire whoever you're going to hire. And communication is the key. This person needs to be evaluated. It's 12 districts. If we send some work, take some work to the person, and the person don't get the job done, he needs to be evaluated in a certain length of time then. We don't have to wait 6 months. We need to evaluate him. The 12 need to evaluate him if they having problems, and the president and the vice president need to look over the evaluation to see what everybody's saying. And if the person is not doing a good job, then they need to meet with the administrator and let him know what he or she is not doing. Because if we don't communicate on the problem, it's going to be the same thing over and over. We just can't get rid of somebody and say, oh, I don't have to say why I voted no, or I don't have to say why I voted yes. Be willing to give your answer, regardless of which way it goes. That's why the jury is divided. People voted him out and say, I don't have to give an answer. I don't think that's professional at all.
All right, so several of you have mentioned divide in the jury. So the next question is this. How would you bridge the gap in a divided jury? And give an example. We'll start that question with District 10 and Mr. Winters.
This question, bringing people together. This is a question that is somewhat difficult to answer, but easy to answer, because the police jury has been working together for years, and they're going to continue to work together. Now, the problem is, are we doing what the constituents want? So when we get together and when we meet with our constituents of our respective district, that way we'll understand what our respective district needs. Because regardless if it's District 9, regardless if it's District 10, regardless if it's District 11. It's all the East End. It's all connected. Each one of these districts is connected in some sort of way. The lines are touching. So the services that goes on in District 9 affects District 10 as well, and such as District 11. So in the best interest is, the police jury doesn't always do things right. And of course, over the last administration, they may have dropped the ball several times, but they've carried the ball a whole lot more than they've dropped the ball. So let's be honest. Things are not always what we want. You can't please everyone, but the jury has done a great job.
And Mr. Ball.
How to bring two disrupted people together. Sometimes it's a hard job, but conversation is a key thing, key factor. Now, it's just like when your two kids is having an argument. The parent have to step in. They have to do what they feel is right for the both. To get them to understand that we're not here to do the wrong thing, but we're here to do the right thing. And that is to let the people know that we're here for all of Lincoln Parish. We cannot just continue to just point the finger at District 10 or District 9 or District 11. Well, you shouldn't be here. You shouldn't do this. What are we going to do together to make things better? When talking to people on the outside, they let you know what they need. And if you listen, things will be much, much better for every district in Lincoln Parish. But we still have to come together as one.
And Mr. Bell.
I've heard a lot of conversation about the jury coming together. And the question is, what should we do to bring the jury together? First of all, we need to pray. We need to ask God for wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Put us on one mind, be on one accord. It's not about your personal agenda. It's about what is most effective for the parish. It's not about the 12 that sit around the table. It's about the people that we represent. And that should be first and foremost on our agenda.
We'll move now to District 9 and Mr. Henderson.
Thank you. First of all of us need to forge relationship with different jurors. That way, once you get to know someone and trust them, you're able to understand why they think a certain way. And then we have to understand that everybody have an opinion. And if my opinion don't agree with your opinion, it shouldn't vote out. You shouldn't be angry because mine is different. But once we understand one another and trust that all of us are there for one reason, that's to serve the people of Lincoln Parish as a whole. I came to serve, and I can serve better when everybody's on one accord, but you got to forge relationship with the other 11. Thank you.
Ms. Evans.
The question was, how would you bridge the gap of the division of the jurors? And it would ask us to give an example. I would say we stick to the ethics. I would say we stick to the rules. I would say respect one another and learn to agree to disagree, but accept the decisions that was made by the board that was mostly voted upon and do it with pride. I would say that we start our meeting with prayer because God is the head of everything, and we end our meeting in prayer. I would say if a situation arises where it seems like it's tension in the room, our Father said he comfort us. So I would say, go down in prayer. Pray for one another. Strengthen one another. Support each other's decisions whether you like them or not, because everybody's mind is not the same. But most of all, I would ask that we walk in that room with love in our heart for the people. We lead with love, we end with love, we lead with peace, and we come together. We don't have to agree, but we must love one another.
Move now to District 11 and Ms. Mayfield.
I think that the divide is that we are not really communicating with each other. When we have a problem, we need to address it to the individual if you have that problem with it. You need to respect each one's thoughts and what they feel. We need to, I think we just really need to communicate a lot better with each other and respect each one's thoughts and processes.
Okay, I think communication is the key. Everybody is not going to think the same. You may agree with me, you may not agree with me, but that's my choice. And the main thing, don't hide information. Put it on the table. Put it in black and white. Let everybody see what's going on so it won't be no division. And if somebody have a problem, talk it out. That's the main thing, talk it out. And then if we don't agree with each other, somebody else can come up with something even better. But the main thing, let's love one another. And don't just say these prayers, praying to God, and you don't mean it. That don't mean nothing. And, you know, I've seen that happen here. They said this good prayer, and then on the end when they voted, it didn't mean nothing. And you know, we got to do the right thing and say the right thing. And God gonna make everything right if we really believe it. And if it's coming from your heart, the truth is gonna set you free.
And Ms. Campbell. Ms. Campbell.
Okay, I think the jurors should first remember the oath of office and who they swore that oath to when you take office. You're working for the constituents, and so we should put them first in all the decision making. Set aside personal agendas and all these cliques getting together and talking on what's best for me or what's best for you, and start thinking first about our people, the constituents that we represent. I think this race has been a wake-up call for all of us, and also, you as constituents, you have a part to play in this too. Hold the jurors accountable. When we sit up here and make these promises and say all these things that we are going to do, hold us accountable for it. Ask questions, come to meetings, keep yourself informed on what's going on. So I thank God for this race. Win or lose, I thank God for this race.
All right, is someone a follow-up to that question? Here's the next question. As a juror, is it your responsibility to do what your constituents want or what you think best? We'll start this time with District 11 and Ms. Richards.
I think my constituents is the one I leans to. Because as I walk through District 11, I've made that block 3 or 4 times. And most of everybody out there tells me, we need to have meetings. So that tells me now they wants to be involved. I don't want to call the shots. I want them to tell me what they want. It's their taxpayers' money. It's their money. I'm a taxpayer too, but I'm leaning to them. It's their money. It's their district. I want them to have what they want. And I will work hard to do just that. Because in District 11, it has gone down. It's a lot of work needs to be done out there. And I will look to all my residents out there for the answer on what they want. District level, I know you, you know me, I've spent quality time with you, and I'm going to work hard to get what you want.
Ms. Campbell?
Okay, the question was doing what the constituents want versus what I want. It's never going to be about what I want, and it will be mostly about what the constituents want, as long as it's in line with, we have rules and regulations that you got to follow. Now, I'm not going to break the law for anybody, but, you know, I would do my best to get the need, whatever the needs of the constituents are, as long as it's within the law and within the guidelines of the police jury's procedures, then I will make sure that they get what they need and what's allocated for them, because I understand that there are allocations for each district. And so with budgeting and financing, I will have a keen eye on that budget and make sure District 11 gets everything that is awarded to them in the grant, and do my best to hold up this office. So vote for number 69. I'm 67. I'm sorry. Woo! Don't vote for 69. Vote for 67.
I think that we are supposed to look at what the constituents want. But we still have to, if they want it, you still need to call and look, check the policies and what we can do as the police jury. I always go and ask the administrator, can we do this? Because this is what my constituent said that they need. And he says that we will try, this is what we'll do. And that's what I always have done. I would always go and check to see if it's possible for these things to get done. And if it's not, I will call them back and say, they say that we can't do it.
We'll move now to District 9 and Ms. Evans.
Constituents versus jurors. When you put a constituent together and you put a juror together, the juror is the bridge of the gap for the community. The constituent is the community that we serve that has to be able to adapt to whatever it is in their environment. What I would do is become fluent with the policies and the procedures, so when they approach me, I'm able to tell them ahead of time what they're able to do in the community and what we're not able to do. If it's something that I know we're able to do, I will go back and look at the allotted money for my district and see, can I provide what they're asking for, because they are the community, but we're just the bridge of that gap. So the question is, what I want or what they want? I think it's about the constituents, but the juror is just that person that's governing what's being done for the constituents.
And Mr. Henderson.
Thank you. I'm a stickler for rules, and I'm a stickler for law. I believe, and I will always follow the rules. I'm going to follow the law. And I tell people, if you want the law changed, vote to change it. But until then, we're obligated to follow the law. I'm going to always do what's right, regardless. If my constituents want me to do something different, I can't do what's different and disobey the law. I got to follow the law, because that's what the law is there for, to be followed. If I want something changed, work to change the law, but up until the end, I'm obligated to follow the law.
Move now to District 10 and Mr. Melton.
For the voters of District 10, you entrusted me when you voted for me for the police jury to represent that district, to make decisions for that district. Now, I will listen to the request of the jurors, for the constituents as to what their complaints are. Then I will therefore report that to the administrator. We'll discuss it. And if it's within the realms of what the police jury does, or the law, as Mr. Henderson alluded to, then this is what I will do. I will also communicate that back to the constituent that asked the question of me to give him an answer, or she an answer.
And Mr. Winters.
Well, first of all, in District 10, the voter turnout was the worst in all the district. 34% of the people came out and voted in that district because the other people in that district really just didn't believe their voice wasn't heard, so they didn't even believe in the system. So the people in this room are not the problem. It's those other 66% of the registered voters. How do we get them out to come out and cast their vote? So we can sit around and point fingers, but District 9, District 10, and District 11, like I just alluded a minute ago, we need to have, if not one meeting, we need to have group meetings because this is all an affected area. Now, if it's in the restraints of the law, like Mr. Henderson said, because he has the most experience on this police jury, he has over 30 years. So group meetings and citizen meetings need to be held with the constituents. That way, the police jury from District 9, 10, and 11 can hear the constituents together and allow their opinion to be voiced. Thank you.
First of all, the thing of the matter is whether we do what the people want or what I want or what the jurymen want. Well, the first thing about it is whatever the situation is, it should be brought to the people in that district. Let them know the situation. I would never just say no. I would tell them, well, I'm going to see what I could do to rectify that problem. You're always going to have a situation in your district. But it's left up to you to try to find a way to work things out for your people in your district. When talking to the people in District 10, a lot of them had a whole lot of complaints about this and that. Well, I say, well, all I can do is, when I get there, see what I can do, find out what I can do, then I'll let you know what I will do. See, that's the thing. We make promises that sometimes we don't keep. If you pay attention to the presidency, the governors, the Senate, all of them make promises that they cannot keep. But we got to do the right thing by the people.
All right, we're going to change topics here in just a minute, talk a little bit about trash. Okay, here's the next question. Do you support door-to-door trash pickup, mega sites, compactor sites, or other solutions to the parish's trash problem, and why? We will start this round with District 10 and Mr. Henderson. Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. Yes, District 9 and Mr. Henderson.
Okay. This has been before us for several years. Right now we have the dumpsters. We do have some mega sites. They are not enough. And the reason we don't have enough mega sites is people not donating land for trash to be next to their house. So that's why we can't have more mega sites where we help solve the problem. I'm for door-to-door, but the people got to vote to want the door-to-door. The dumpster is not the best. Mega site is the next best. Door-to-door is the best, but the people got to vote and say, I want door-to-door.
And Ms. Evans.
Speaking of our trash issue, she was asking what we want for the community is more or less what's needed for the community. In our budget, We need to reevaluate that budget and take the time out to start purchasing some of this land that's up for sheriff's sale, that's in our rural communities, to build that mega site our community need. There's revenue out there if we come together as a juror. If we reevaluate and reassess the issue of the trash, redesign what we already have in place with something better, but actually take action within our budget to spend the money on what the community needs, not what we think it should be. We know there's a problem. So to attain that mega site, spend some of our taxpayers' money on that property that we selling to our friends at the courthouse that's in that rural area. Dumpsters. We need cameras at those dumpsters because people are discarding of things and they know what the rules are in the city, but we need to have more awareness in our community about how to dispose. If it's an issue, bring awareness, communicate, do what's right within the budget for the people, not for what we want. Stop selling the land at the courthouse in those rural areas, and you got a lot of issues in your community that you're speaking of that you need that land for.
Now we'll move to District 10 and Mr. Ball.
Seems like you get to me real quick. Well, when it comes to garbage, I was at that meeting also. Really and truly, these places are not big enough for dumpsters. And a lot of people don't have automobiles to make it to the dumpster. They have to walk it down a mile or so. And then you have those that are able and don't place it on their car the right way. That causes another problem. Litter down the highway, garbage. Here, people has been talking to me about, well, Wayne, if you get in office, you ought to make sure they do a door-to-door. I said, now, you got to vote on things like that. I can't get in there and just say, well, we going to do this here, or we going to do that there. We got to have a reason to have people in there voting for. They have these committees, and if these committees don't do the right thing by bringing it to the people, letting them tell them exactly how they feel about it, then there's nothing we can do. But they must open their mouths and speak up.
I'm in favor of door-to-door. I think that would be the direction in which we need to trend. But we have a problem, and we all recognize we have a problem. But I will say this, it has gotten better over the last couple of years. I must give credit where credit is due. It looks like a war zone on the weekend, but if you go back by these dumpster sites by Wednesday, they're very clean. And I got to give kudos to the people that make sure that these areas are kept clean. The mega sites would be wonderful, but there again, it's acquiring the land. People don't want to sell their property this day and age. Everyone wants to hold on. So therefore, if you don't have the acreage to place a mega site, then you can't place one. We have increased locations, increased the dumpsters at different locations to accommodate the trash. We've gone out and made surveys and see that there's a need, and when there is one, we add 1 or 2 dumpsters to that area, and that has helped the situation. It is 90% better than what it was at one time.
Yes, the issue on the trash. The issue on the trash is, well, first of all, I lost the dumpster site that was nearest to my house a couple of years back. And me and myself, Mr. Baldwin, and some other citizens came to fight to get that site back. It hasn't come back. But again, the site we have now is in an area that if you go down there at night, you can't see your hand in front of your face because it's that dark. The area needs more lighting. But as far as the door-to-door pickup, that's simple. Door-to-door pickup is you can call the city of Ruston right now and get the services because they provide the services. The issue is people don't want to pay for it. So you can get those services, you just have to pay for it. My neighbor gets door-to-door services. I don't want to pay for it, so I don't get door-to-door service. Because I've gotten used to taking my trash to the dumpster. But the services are out there. People just got to pay for it. So, again, I understand everybody doesn't have a truck, but if they call the Lincoln Parish, they have procedures where they'll come out and pick those couches up for you. And, again, I've had them come out and pick limbs up that from a storm that have passed. It might take them a week or so, but they get to you. Utilize the services that we already have in place.
District 11, Ms. Campbell.
Okay, concerning the trash issue, I live inside the city limits, so I can only speak for what I see when I pass by the dumpsters, and it's a mess. So, and I would think door-to-door would be the best option, but I have door-to-door, so for the people on the outside of the city limits, I don't know what the budget is for the parish or whether they're able to help pay for the door-to-door or what have you, but I can assure you that if I were elected, I would get in and try to look at the budget and find a way, if possible, that everyone should have door-to-door, because that is the best, in my opinion, because I don't like the dumpsters. I don't like the way they look, and I don't like the way they're kept, and I don't like the way people are abusing them by putting, couches or whatever. They've even started putting dead animals in there on some occasions. So I think it would be great and a great advantage to have door-to-door. And if I were elected, I would first of all want to have a study done, a cost-effective study to see what it would cost to get everyone connected with the door-to-door. And if it's cost-effective, then and the people would agree to it, I think that would be the best option.
Ms. Mayfield.
Well, door-to-door would be the best option for our trash. But when we get in the rural area, they like the dumpsters. And so you have to accommodate your communities that you are going, that would be represented. I love the door-to-door, and I would prefer, but most people don't want to pay for it in the rural area, and it's a cost factor. You would have to pay, probably wouldn't be what Ruston pays, it probably would be more, and they don't want to pay that. The mega sites would be another option too, because you can get more dumpsters in that area, but you have to go to these landowners, and they don't want to sell. So we really have a problem of really trying to find a solution, but door-to-door would be the best option.
And Ms. Richards.
In late 20, they did a survey online, but they never got around to coming to a decision about the door-to-door. So we need to get on one accord. First, we need to talk with the constituents to see what they want, because out in the rural areas, they have some long driveways. So in order to do door-to-door, the trash truck is going to stop at the end of the road. So you're going to either have to pay somebody to bring it to the road, or you're going to have to pull it all the way down to the road. And with the mega sites, now they would be real nice. And the research I've done, they stated about the mega sites. And that's what they always say, the land. Somebody out there is willing to sell some land. So if I'm elected, where these dumpsters are, I will go and talk to the peoples myself to see if that's really true. Because over the weekend, Hurd Road was in a mess. I'm not holding that seat now, but some of the constituents out there sent pictures to my phone to show me what it looked like. They don't even know they representative out there. So some of you are here tonight. When y'all faced with that problem, call Miss Mayfield. She's here.
you? Mr. Winters, why should voters elect you?
You see this smile? No, but seriously, why should voters elect me? Well, I'm for the people. I've always worked with the people, understand business, and I know how to communicate. So, with these qualifications I already have, win or lose, I'm still going to be involved. I'm still going to work with whatever jury, the entire jury, not just the juror of my district. I'm going to get involved regardless because I have businesses in District 1 and 2, that's in Grambling area. I have businesses in other districts. So with that being said, I'm all for Lincoln Parish. And regardless if I'm representing District 10 or not, I'm still going to be part of this jury because I'm going to be at the meetings, seen somewhere, involved, speaking for the constituents. Thank you.
Mr. Baldwin, why should voters elect you?
I'm the right choice. As Mr. Winters stated about the meetings, I've been to every meeting that I could be, voiced my opinions in a lot of situations. I don't throw nobody up under the bus. I just come direct from the hip because the people ask me to speak out, be their voice, because they know I love each and every person that I meet. I have no enemies. But times comes when we all must step up and let others know just how much we care for each other. And my people down there know I care for them. Like it was said in the beginning, I give food to the elderly. Every time I be told that there's a truck coming in, I go to Arcadia and I get it, distribute it, bring some back to Ruston, and pass it around to the elderly back down here. I do what I can for all the people. And that's why I said I'm your best choice. 64.
Mr. Melton, why should voters elect you?
Well, it's simple. I'm qualified, I have the experience, I'm knowledgeable, and I'm the best man for the job.
Moving now to District 9, and Mr. Henderson, why should voters elect you?
Again, I want to thank the Ruston Day leader for having this forum to give us a voice for more people to hear our platform. I know I'm the best qualified person for the job based on my experience, knowing budgets, knowing financing, knowing government rules, knowing mandates, knowing what taxes and millages, how they are calculated, how to carry on budgets, how to plan for budget. And we have to always remember something. Every tax dollar is dedicated to something. You can't just spend money because it come in. You got to spend it based on where the people said spend it. And therefore, you got to deal with that budget with whatever's coming in for whatever tax the people said, charge for this. And you can't move money between budgets. If it's dedicated, you got to spend it just for that. And you have to know what's mandated. The Ruston Day leader gave a great printout on what the police are responsible for. It's great. If everybody will read this, then you'll have less people going like, what the police jury do. Just tell us, everyone, what we do. I'm the best qualified for the person because of my experience and knowledge.
And Ms. Evans, why should voters elect you?
I've been a homeowner since the age of 26 years old. What young person do you know took the time to spend money on a home at the age of 26? I purchased my first car at the age of 17 after getting my GED, graduating the highest of the state of Louisiana. Young lady. I purchased my second property 8 years ago in District number 9. Why not vote for someone that knows what a budget looks like, that's very responsible, know how to spend their money, and spend their time. Vote for Nikisha R. Evans on October the 14th, number 62.
We'll move now to District 11, and Ms. Mayfield, why should voters elect you?
I am experienced, I'm qualified, and I'm knowledgeable. And I think I know practically everyone in my area. I'm in Ruston, but I've tried to get out and meet the people. So I think that I am qualified, I have the knowledge, and I have the experience. Vote number 68, Sharon Mayfield.
And Ms. Richards, why should voters elect you?
With my finance and tax professional my tax professional skills, I would be a good steward over the taxpayers' money. Also, I have researched, I know LA 818 is a state road. I'm aware, I know it, I can do, and I can take care of that road for District 11. I've talked to the right peoples, and if I'm elected, that's going to be my first thing on the agenda is to take care of Highway 818.
And Ms. Candler, why should voters elect you?
Voters should elect me because I'm qualified, I'm knowledgeable, and I have experience. I've been sat on 4 different boards, and I'm on 2 right now. And one of the boards that I sit on, I am the treasurer over a multi-million-dollar grant. So I understand grants, I understand budgets. When I look at a budget, I'm not going to be lost because I know that there are issues in the budget that are earmarked for certain things. You cannot do just like Mr. Henderson said, you can't do what you want to do with the budget, but I will be able to discern what's for my District 11 when I look at it, and I will be able to ensure that they will get all of the money that's earmarked for District 11 for roads or what have you, and I will be sure that it's spent in the correct manner, and I will be a good steward over your finances. I'm going to be watching over your finances. I'm qualified to sit on any board, any committee that the police jury have right now coming in the door. You don't find too many people first turn coming in the door ready to serve, ready with all of the qualifications that I have. So I'm ready from day one when you elect me. Number 67, Patsy Candler.